In the fast-paced world of today's marketplace, are you looking at your business and wondering, what will it take to get known and drive traffic? This is Your Business Matters Show, the place where your host, Kevin Yoon, shines the spotlight on industry leaders to discover the power of business matters, to share the insight that can positively impact your bottom line. Success is not about knowing your business matters. It is what you're doing with what you know. Turn up the sound and get ready for Your Business Matters Show. Here's your host, Kevin Yoon.
Business brand versus personal brand. Businesses are noticing that what got attention, for the prospects years ago is changing. And in fact, today it's probably not even the same as what it was years ago. There's more demand in the marketplace for us to want to really work with people we know, like, and trust. And on this episode of Your Business Matters Show, we are going to go and dive deep into the topics that affect business owners. And today, I'm excited to have a guest with me who has totally understood personal brand and business brand. And I'm going to give you her bio, but just want to understand that this show is really about helping you, that small business owner, able to get topics that sometimes are left to maybe other industries or other levels of business that we don't always get access to. And my game plan is to really dive in and go, hey, you know what? How to help that small and medium-sized business owner get access to good, solid information. So I've kind of scoured the world for some great people, and my guest is one of those. So here she is. She's the president and CEO of IT Tech Pros, a company she started 12 years ago to help small and medium-sized companies by managing their IT needs and offering IT consulting services. She has since become an author, a speaker, and recently an inventor. She and her business have been featured in many media like USA Today, CNBC, Boston Globe, Reuters, ABC, and A&E. This journey has taught her all about building a personal brand and a business brand. Kathy David, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor. Thanks, Kevin.
This is awesome. Listen, when did you know you had not to just work on your brand of your IT business, but actually you as Kathy David?
Great question. But I think what I would like to do before I give you that answer, I just want to define to the audience what I think a brand is, because as you know, brand now is loosely used today, and it has changed over the years of what a brand is. But as it relates to a personal brand and a branding for a small business owner, I just want to define that so we have some context that we can, work off of and talk about.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So basically,
let's do it. Yeah.
So basically, a brand is a unique combination of things that differentiates you from your competition. It really is the heart and soul of what a company stands for. It is the emotional connection, that voice, and the value that attracts your customers to you. And it is about the vision and the value that you give to your customers and making sure that you consistently communicate this in an effective way, so that way your customers or your clients or potential customers finds you. So going back to your question about when did I realize that I needed to not just brand my IT company and brand myself, I just want to first say that it's not about branding two separate things. It's really about branding me as an entrepreneur that just happens to love running an IT firm and as an entrepreneur. So there's really not this two separate thing that's happening. It's really a combination of things, as mentioned in what I think the definition of what branding is today. Mm-hmm. But here's what I know about running a business. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. You always have to be marketing. And I think you've heard this before, right, Kevin? Always be marketing.
Our buddy James Malinchak has been pounding that in my head for years, right? Yeah.
Right. It is about that. And as mentioned, it's not just promoting myself as a separate brand. It's about curating a story about me as an entrepreneur and as a professional and adding value to the marketplace as an expert and a leader in my space. this is a strategy. This is not something I just, decide one day I'm going to wake up and say, oh, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be a speaker. I just found that it works best for me and my firm, and the attractiveness factor is high. And I've been able to attract all sorts of opportunities back to my IT firm because of it. Everything is planned out. Everything is strategic. I don't put anything out there that doesn't tie back to my companies, especially to my IT firm. I could be talking about or be invited to speak about women empowerment, but I'm always talking about my IT firm, IT Tech Pros, because at the end of the day, I represent my company. I have the ability to craft a narrative about me, and about my company. And these days, as you mentioned, it's not just about the product or the service. People are interested with connecting with people they trust, and people like to do business with people that they trust and like. And marketing or branding is about this concept. And you may have heard about this concept. I didn't make this up. It's called VCP.
Oh, I haven't heard.
Have you heard of this concept before?
All right.
Okay.
Let's go into that. I want to hear that.
All right. So this concept I learned when I was a director with BNI over 8 years ago. And the founder, Ivan Meisner, coined this. V stands for visibility, C stands for credibility, P stands for profitability. So applying the VCP concept, I asked myself, how can I differentiate my firm, my IT firm, IT Tech Pros, from my competition and get more visibility? And the answer to the question for me was really easy, and it's that one of the things that we've been fortunate enough is been recognized by prestigious organizations here in the United States, like SBA. We were awarded Minority Business of the Year in 2013. I have been featured on what's the magazine name? And I should know this because this was just last year. I've been featured as one of the top women CEOs by Women Enterprise Business Magazine, and this is a worldwide, publication. So
I need sound effects for woohoo! Yay! Congratulations!
Yes, thank you. I mean, this is last year, but just thinking about this, how can I be more visible? Mm-hmm. And So the point is, that is one of the differentiators about my firm is that we're an award-winning company. And the other obvious thing for me is that I'm a woman-owned business, and not many IT firms is owned by a woman. So I decided to utilize the company's biggest asset to differentiate us and add massive visibility to the marketplace. And that's me. That's me. I'm the personality. Right.
All right. This is great. And this goes into my next question, which has been harder, to build kind of the brand of the business or build the brand of Cathy David?
Sure. I would love to answer that question. I just want to finish because it's so important for your audience. So I talked about visibility, credibility, right? And then profitability. So let me just go right into credibility. And it's that, I decided to build myself as an expert in this space to add credibility to my clients. And so the visibility, credibility really is very important. That ties into profitability, because naturally, if you've done a great job with marketing, getting yourself out there and really working your visibility, gaining more credibility, then naturally the profitability will just, work itself out.
Exactly. All right. So now, which has been harder, your brand or the business?
So great question. It's building the business. So I think one of my greatest strengths as a business owner, I'm a natural marketer, so not everyone can do that. And I know it's not a strength for most people, but for me personally, it's about scaling and growing a business. So, the challenge for most business owners is taking their business from startup, to making cash, and then to scaling it to where it's resource intensive and they can scale and grow to, 6, 7, 8 plus, sales digits on an annual basis. And what it's important for all business owners. And again, tying back to it, it's harder to grow a business and scale a business versus building a brand. And again, branding, it's just marketing, but there's also the back end stuff. And if you are looking to grow your business to scale, it is very important that you get support, you get the proper funding, you get the proper education to take your business beyond where you're at. Because what got you started is not going to work for if you want to grow and scale your business. And so the top 3 things any business owner needs to know that's important to growing their company is acquiring customers. Because if you acquire customers, then you're going to have cash resources. When you have cash resources, then you have resources that you can put back into growing your business, whether it's, buying new equipment, hiring, a sales force, or hiring a team to support your growth. And it is a cycle. So acquiring new customers gets you cash resources, that gets you resources, that helps you get more customers. So this is the top 3 things any business, I don't care what industry you're in, this matters most especially if you're a small business owner. When I say small to mid-sized business owner, companies that have, a handful of employees up to, 300, 400 employees.
Yeah, and the work that's got to be done, as you said, there's fundamental practices that need to happen, right? It doesn't matter what size you are, but you're still doing things, right? So looking back on them, what would you do differently? Like now that you've been doing this for, especially in the IT firm, you've been there 12 years doing that. Mm-hmm. You look back now and you go, what would I have kind of started, stopped, maybe changed if I was going to do it again? And thinking about the audience and going, here I am, I'm sort of stuck, I'm struggling, I've been in business 5, 10 years, and I want to take that next leap. So if you were to look back at yourself, what would you say? Do this differently.
Yeah, so I can think of more than a dozen things.
We could go on for hours.
we can, but I want to stay within the topic of this talk today, which is about branding.
Right.
And for me, it's not necessarily what I would do differently, but what I would do more of.
Oh, I like that.
And what I would love to do more of is do more live events. I think I'm actually working on that right now. I used to do live events where I would invite prospects and customers to a live workshop, whether it's a lunch and learn or a 2-3 hour workshop. And that really got me to connect with my customers and build relationships that way. So social media is definitely important to get you for awareness, but taking it even the next level is inviting those people you've met online and inviting people that you want to connect with in person to live events. So whether it's an educational workshop about what you do, for me, I love to talk about cybersecurity and also planning for the right technology tools at different stages of your business. I used to do a workshop for a large utilities company here in Southern California where I've taught more than 500 small business owners around utilizing the right technology tools for their business. And this is something that I've gotten away from the last 2.5 years. And this is what I want to do more of. So that's definitely something that I'm planning for 2019 for sure. Because personal interaction is important.
Yeah, I totally see. It's funny you say that. At the end of the day, it is about us as people coming together to do business together, right? I know there's AI and I know there's electronics and technology, and that's great. But at the end of the day, the transactions that I'll call it are fulfilling for us is when we're able to have transactions where we know we've connected with someone else. I think that's when they're most fulfilling. Because we can all go buy a commodity, right? You and I can go buy pencils. We can go to the Amazons of the world and go buy, and that's great. And that's just a transaction. Mm-hmm. But I call it real solid business is when relationships happen. Right. You trust somebody, you work with someone, you like them. Hey, what do you do? Oh, I want to do this with you. And like you said, when you're doing your workshop, right? Is there a right time for a kind of seasoned business owner to really start creating their own personal brand, since we're still in the branding piece? Like, is it, to say, okay, I've really been shy, Kathy. Like, I'm not the camera person. I'm not the social media person, but I know I got to do something because the marketplace has changed. When's kind of the right time to get into it?
the right time is all the time, I think. Now, the real question is, what is the right media to do it with?
Like that.
So not everyone is extroverted like you and me that can get in front of a camera and be on social media. But I think there's a strategy. You really have to strategize and have a playbook around your strength. So a great example, someone who is an engineer. And I've run into this in the IT space. There's a lot of engineers that do great work and have IT companies, but are scared to be that face for their company because they shine best, behind the scenes. So, but let's just take someone who is an engineer, who's an introvert that don't want to do social media. We'll hire a social media marketing team to brand the messaging of the company, to talk about the values of what the company is about. Take pictures of what's happening internally in your office. The other part that I think people fail to realize that is still powerful today is paper, mailers, paper. So buy a list, generate some type of a landing page where you can can get information of your prospects and send them newsletters. So it could be a newsletter, have somebody else write it up for you. If you're not a strong writer, hire someone to write content and just put your face on it, about the president and CEO, and then a bio and about the company. So again, branding is not necessarily what we think we see all the time. There are other strategies and other medias to where that person who dislike, and I know there's a lot of engineers that dislike social media, there are ways for you to still brand yourself as an expert in your space, as a trusted professional, using other means to do it.
So this is sort of a fun question, but do you remember kind of the first time when you said, okay, let me get the camera? And because I want people to understand, sometimes we're going to make mistakes, right? So let's get that out of the way and go, we're going to make mistakes. Do you remember the first time you went, okay, give me the camera, and then went, how did it go? Like, just kind of walk us through how, was it like, hey, I was a natural at this, or was it like, oh crap, what have I done?
Lots of takes, lots of edits. Lots of saying the same thing over and over again and flipping up. And then maybe after like the 20 take, right, I'm maxing out the space of my phone, going through all of it, combing through it, then it gets easier and you get better over time. But, there's trial and error. Right. So, yeah, that was really, and I still have an archive of all of my old videos that I've posted on YouTube. Some of them are already put on private that I posted on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that was horrible. But then it just worked. Right. So,
and you've been speaking for a while. You've built a few brands now. So I want to go back into a little on the business side. So you got your IT firm. You started now as an inventor. You've created something very unique in the marketplace. You, as the business owner, do you have like a formula that you say, okay, here's how I just got to make sure, it doesn't matter what company I get into. Here's what I got to do first, second, third. Is there like a first, second, third for people to maybe consider as they're building a brand?
Okay. I want to make sure I understand the question. So, because there was a lot in there.
Yeah, that's me. I throw so much at the table. But simply, let's say maybe one or two, three things.
For me in a different way.
Go ahead.
So I can,
All right. Oh, there we go. We'll go back. I think I thought I had lost you. Are you there? Oh, okay. Kath, how's that? Oh, there we go. Can you hear me okay?
Now I can hear you. You froze there.
So yes, I'm so sorry.
re-asked the question, I heard nothing.
Yeah, and I went blank too.
That's technology for you.
Exactly, right? So thank you very much, everybody, for hanging around for a moment. Yeah, so no, the question was more around, you've done so many different brands. Do you have like now I'll call it the formula where you got to do a step 1, 2, 3, and what we would share with the audience, say, okay, listen, you're going to do something from starting from right where you are. Here's what you need to do first, second, third.
Right. Well, I want to say first things first, IT Tech Pros is my priority. So I have IT Tech Pros. I started this 12 and a half years ago. And then I do have another company called Alpus Athletics. It's a completely different business than my tech company. It's a fitness and athleisure brand, and I invented a product that I'll be releasing soon. And then obviously my speaking and influence, branding, however you want to call it, teaching side of the business, which I really tie it back to IT Tech Pros as part of my marketing plan within IT Tech Pros. Mm-hmm. But launching a completely different company with a different set of, values and vision for it, I have to make sure that my operations and everything with it in my current company is running smoothly. I've got to make sure that all of my customers are taken care of first and foremost, mm-hmm. that I still focus on that. I wouldn't be able to start another company if I didn't feel comfortable,
mm-hmm. Totally
taking
understand.
some of my attention away from my tech company to my new company. Because as you know, and most experts will say, focus, right? Focus on one thing in your business. Try not to do too many things, because when you do too many things, you can lose focus and it will impact. There are negative implications to doing that. And I'm very aware of that. That's why it has taken me, to be honest with you, it has taken me 3 years to get to this point with Alpus Athletics. And I'm still in pre-revenue, pre-launch stage. It's a lot of work. So I just don't do it haphazardly just to say, oh, I'm going to go and launch this, because I need to account for all of the variables and possible negative implications when I do that. Because not just my time, it's my energy as well, and my cash resource. Being a small business, even with my new company, I'm, as of right now, I'm self-funding it. I'm bootstrapping it. So,
you go, girl.
The life of an entrepreneur. So it does require careful planning and a mm-hmm. lot of small businesses. And I know a lot of people who are doing so many things and they want to be successful and spreading themselves out too thinly that they really don't build and create something that they can say, wow, this one thing here has created me a lot of wealth.
Yeah.
So, that's just my experience and my opinion. Now, there are other entrepreneurs out there that has the resources that can be in 5 different businesses. But again, it's not them running the business. They've been very strategic about it and have teams to run those businesses, and they oversee the entire operations or the process of those companies.
Yeah. So now you've got some success behind you. Things are going really well. What would be some of the myths or, like the beliefs that before you start, you think, well, it's supposed to be like this, and now you're on the other side going, oh my God, it's not like that at all. Is there anything that you've found on your journey?
Yeah, so I'll give you an example, not necessarily what I've found, but a lot of people do reach out to me and ask me, Kathy, I want to start my own business. How do I do it? You've been so successful. What do you advise us? And this is what I find a lot of people where they get stuck. It's the analysis paralysis. They want to do something and they do everything else but get started. So they think that, okay, I'm going to start a business. I need a logo. I need a website. I need to write a business plan. I need business cards. No, that's the least important part of starting a business. The first fundamental thing about starting a business is you go out there and market yourself. When I first started my company, IT Tech Pros, I didn't even have a business card. The first thing I did was I went to a networking event and introduced myself. Hi, I'm the president of IT Tech Pros. We're an IT consulting firm. That's it. And I say that in such a simple way because it is so simple. It's people sometimes get hung up on the planning, and planning is good. So, and this is actually a tip or a strategy I give in the book I just launched last week, which is New School Leader. And there's a chapter that I talk about taking action. And the first nugget that I share there is my execution tip. Because I know that people get hung up on the planning process that they don't take action.
Right.
So my execution tip is number 1, fire. Number 2,
I like it.
ready. Number 3, aim.
Oh,
Because
right
we
on.
have been taught to ready, aim, fire.
And ready could be so long, right? We're
It
like,
could
hold
be so
on,
long,
hold on.
and it's got to be perfect, and it's got to be just right. Well, there's never really the right time to do it. It's never going to be perfect. So fire, ready, aim, and then after that, it's ready, aim, fire. Because when you fire, ready, aim, then you have something. You have data now. Did this work? Was I effective? What can we do better? So you can start planning. So when you plan, then you go ready, aim again, and fire. So that's the step and this is really where a lot of people are struggle and challenged with. And I actually got on the phone with someone just 2 days ago with that same very thing. Kathy, I don't know how to get started. I already have my business plan. I've already got my financial projections. And it's like, okay, have you started calling people to tell them what you're doing and what you're about? No. Always be marketing. Always be marketing.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Love it. Where people can find out more about you?
Sure. So the easiest path for you to find me is kathydavid.com, and it's KATHYDAVID.com, or you can just go to ittechpros.com.
Fantastic. What much for sharing it, especially the fact of you've done both sides, the business and the personal branding piece. It is very instrumental to making success happen in any business. I tip my hat to you for doing all the success you've done over the years, and you're such an inspiration. Anybody that you've listened to her here now on this show, go follow up on her, see what she's been doing. I mean, she practices what she preaches. It's not just, oh yeah, go do this, but I do something else. What you talk today, I mean, this is exactly what you do, which I love, and it's great to see. And I'm so blessed to have you on the show with me today.
Thank you, Kevin. As mentioned, it's my honor.
Oh, this is great. This is great. Well, thanks. You've been listening to another show here of Your Business Matters show, and we are helping small, medium-sized businesses grow, get insights, get information, and we're looking forward to having you here with us on the next episode. So thanks for joining, everybody.
Bye.